Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Pegasus Bridge, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 6th Airborne. I'm playing with Tankol, Silhouette and Snapper on my team today, who are using the 15th Infantry Scot, 2nd Armoured French and Guards Armoured. And then we have on the opposing side Salt, Jagdsource, Gonzo and Ciara, who are playing the 12th SS Panzer, 3rd Fallschirmjäger, 9th Panzer and the 116th Panzer. So this was a game that was originally streamed live, and if you're a patron you can go on to Patreon and view that. But here I have for you the replay commentary today. So let's set it to my point of view and we shall talk through where I was going to go. So since I'm playing the 6th Airborne, the town was the place to go in this one, bringing the 6th Airborne back to their roots, I guess. Yep, at Pegasus Bridge. And then on the left side we have Silhouette with the 2nd Armoured. On the right side of me we have the with Tankol with the 15th Infantry, and on the far right Snapper. Now Snapper, it was actually his first game in multiplayer, like according to him on the stream, like while we were streaming. He stated to us that it was his first ever game on multiplayer, but he has played a lot of solo and skirmish, so I had faith that he would do well, and his composition that he put down towards the start of the game was relatively good, so I had faith in him, and he didn't let me down. So either way, let's have a look at my composition. Going to be quite simple stuff. We've got a couple of units of the Airborne Paras with the Command Infantry to go into the main town. We have some recon there, of course, another unit of infantry behind. On this side I've got the AT gun, which is going to try and go for this line of sight, which I always talk about. Gets the line of sight down the road. Really good for just like picking off a half track or two if they bring them down. I've also got off map at the start of the game. This was an absolute cheese strat that I went for in this game. Just wanted to have a bit of fun for the first game of the stream, and 381mm off map was the way to go about that apparently. Then I have some recon, a couple units of infantry with the Command Infantry there. Now these infantry are actually Ox and Bucks, and this will be the first gameplay in which you've ever seen me use them, and I think it was the first time that I've really tried them out properly. I've added them to the division instead of Airborne Bren Group, and basically they have the same stats as Airborne Bren Group, except from they cost 5 points more and they have a Piat, which makes them a lot more versatile in Phase A than your standard Bren Group Airborne Para combo, because generally Airborne Paras, they rely on gammon bombs and they are a lot less effective than Piats because of the range difference. So Piats will hopefully, do well in this, and as you can see I have sped up the deployment quite a bit because it was pretty much 6 minutes of deployment, and we will be starting shortly, and I'll show you guys exactly where all of my units are going. So the idea was just to sort of secure this town here and then maybe push through if we could. Right, we're starting shortly, and we're underway.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see the unloaded position orders I have. I've got the AT gun obviously unloading here. I've got the off map travelling to the left side. This is actually pretty risky because if a Pack 40 drops off here I could lose my 381mm off map pretty easily, but went for the risk anyway. Then we have the Ox and Bucks sort of moving over to these two tree lines. I wanted to be able to like push through to where this pointer is, and then through here past the orchard, and then I've got the Command Infantry obviously following up those ones and making sure that it covers the AT gun at the start. So it's 3-star accuracy and it hits the mark. The infantry in the town, that's just doing its normal stuff. Good old unload at position shenanigans going on here as it goes down the road, unloads it and makes them walk through the forest like that. I swear it's just like the Jeep driver trawling. So that's the Command Infantry. That's actually okay for the Command Infantry to be doing that, just so that it doesn't die preemptively, but there we go. 381mm off map. Gets the time on target there, and as we can see from Jagdsource, he actually hasn't put too much in my way. So I'm coming at him with the Airborne Paras here, the Ox and Bucks following up with the Airborne leader. Got Airborne Scouts to sort of cover the field here, and I'm going to be going for this strike. Now if it hits these Fallschirmjägers hard, I'm going to be able to push on him very hard, There's also a silhouette bringing up an M3A3, which should help out with the Panzer L6, although currently being engaged by the Panzer or Pak 41 Gerlich, and if that M3A3 gets hit, it could definitely go down. Here we go, here goes the off map. Gonna pin everything down. Lovely jubbly. And that's exactly what you're sort of going for at the start there. Didn't particularly do too much damage, as you can see, but I'm just trying to remove this recon at the moment so I can maybe make a push onto this location. I've got the Ox and Bucks moving up here as well, now with the attack move order, and eventually they will break up through there. On the right side, Tankholz found himself up against Salt anyway with the 12th SS Panzer, and on the far right we've got Ciara versus Snapper, and Snapper's spaced out quite nicely. On my left it's going to be Gonzo versus Silhouette, and it's really up to Gonzo to make sure he can hold the ground there, especially with the Panzer II Lux and Flampanzer combo, which is an absolute nightmare, really. So the speed troop get surrendered there. We have my airborne parries and airborne scouts moving forwards. I've got another off-map strike coming in, just to try and remove anything else from this area, and then afterwards I will just push onto it with my infantry. That's the idea, at least. There we go, off map coming down again, going to be smashing those Fallschirmjägers. Actually managed to kill off one of the squads, which is great. Definitely means I'm going to be at a decent advantage at the start of the game. And I see his Fallschirmjägers start to run away here, and that's what really enables me to just sort of attack move all of my infantry forwards. Still got the 6-pounder covering the road as well, and you can see that his Panzer L6 comes right in line of sight of that. That's like the reason you put a 6-pounder here. Managed to pick up that kill, which definitely opens up the front and gives us that part of the town. So still a 50-50, even though I am pushing relatively aggressively here. I think it's mainly due to, you know, Snapper being pushed back a little bit on this right side. Ideally you want to be up to this tree line, and on the left side Silhouette's having a hard time against Gonzo. But otherwise, you know, doing pretty well. I've got the last off map strike coming in. That's going to be going for this left side where Jagdsource has his MG34, the Pak 41, the LG40, and he's got a couple of units of infantry coming in as well. So just trying to take full advantage of that. And I mean, if this off map lands on like all of these units, it's pretty much half of Jagdsource's troops just like killed off straight away, which is a massive blow to a third Fallschirmjäger because their units cost so much. The airborne parrot just moving up to the edge of the town to join the Ox and Bucks. We've got another Ox and Bucks coming up with the airborne leader there. 2 Ox and Bucks on the right moving to that right side. I have 6 Ox and Bucks altogether on this division, and currently I haven't really lost like a unit of infantry whatsoever, but as you can see, off map comes in, takes out the MG, takes out Panzergrenadier, takes out the Pak 41, does a lot of damage to the sharpshooter there, and that is the majority of Jagdsource's units destroyed on that left side. I see the front line move forwards there, and I was hoping that maybe Silhouette could make some ground. However, he is being put pressure on by Gonzo now, as Gonzo moves over his Panzer II Lux and the Flampanzers here. I do have another mortar on the way, but I also have an AT gun on the way, and that is to try and counter this push coming through. 3-inch mortar has arrived in the town, and that's going to be helping me engage the enemy mortar and also any infantry that I come up against. Ox and Bucks are currently trying to kill off the Panzergrenadier in the field there, and I would assume that Salt's, you know, eyes would be over here, so just trying to take advantage of that at the moment, hoping that Silhouette's bazooka can hit the mark. Does manage to take out one of the Panzer II Lux. I was very glad that he did, and now he just needs to take out the third vehicle here, as the Flampanzer I think is already dead. I think that already got taken out by the bazooka, and this squad absolutely saving the day. 3 bazooka shots, 3 kills. Fantastic job by Silhouette there, having the Zuka squad in position. Now, a bit of a mistake on Gonzo's part. I think he was struggling to find a place to sort of push through here, and just thought maybe this would be weaker, but the bazooka squad saving the day, and also my 6-pounder now arriving. So my mortar's firing away. We have my units pretty much just chilling in the town. We're sitting at the +1, starting to gain ourselves some ground. 76 points for the Axis. But Snapper's managed to push up into this area, which is great. It's only on this left side really that Gonzo's making it hard for us to get the extra points in. Or at least the extra territory, not necessarily the points. But Mercs and Bucks have found the Pack 38 now, so we're going to be pinning that down and killing it, which opens up the middle of the map quite a lot. That's just going to allow Mercs and Bucks to continue forwards and gain us even more ground, secure our +1 lead. ME109 G6R6 comes in to strafe the mortar. I did manage to move it out of the way just in time. I've also got this 6-pounder moving up. I want to get it into position to hit the Panzer II Lux here. I don't want this sharpshooter to kill it though, so as you can see the mortar comes in, takes out the sharpshooter. I spotted him with the airborne scouts I believe, or it might have been that he fired upon the bazooka, but the bazooka there once again killing off another Lux brought in by Gonzo. Fantastic job by Silhouette throughout this game. I've also brought up a command Tetrarch now to help out, and that's just going to sit back in a sort of defensive position here, cover the road from anything that kind of charges us down, because Gonzo loves to make aggressive plays. Now it wasn't intentional that I necessarily left it there, I think I kind of forgot about it, but it was nice that it was in that position anyway, since it had line of sight onto these roads. And unless he wanted to go back on himself down here past this bazooka, this Tetrarch was holding the road very nicely. I also had the 6-pounder there to ambush as well. But there we have the last Zuka shot coming in, taking out the Flampanzer. And Silhouette's going to be putting the help beacon down. My 6-pounder's trying to find the line of sight onto the Panzer II Lux. Almost gets it. Not quite. Bails out by the Tetrarch. And the 6-pounder gets the shot in there, but doesn't get the kill. Tetrarch does the job. Lovely stuff. Now meanwhile, I'm trying to make a little push here with some smoke. As you can see, I put down some smoke. I tried to run forwards with the Oxen Bucks and Airborne Paras. However, the machine guns from the Fallschirmjäger still managed to pin me down. There's also the MG34 in the church, as well as the sharpshooter in that building. And pushing on to this area is absolutely futile. Ideally, like another off-map at this point would have really done the job, but we're not in Phase B yet. And I don't have more 381mm off-map until Phase C, I think. So, yeah. Either way, Silhouette's Bazooka squad is on the move once again. Taking out the Flampanzer helped him out dramatically. But now he just needs to take care of the Lux as well. Zug squad hits the mark. Lovely jubbly. Another Lux gone down. Gonzo taking an absolute beating, but that bazooka squad not going to last much longer. Okay, so my 3-inch mortar firing away, and it seems as though like Yagsource really like defended this a lot. At the time I wasn't entirely sure how much he had defended it, because I don't really have any recon far up on the top side. My recon's actually sitting back here, and I've got some recon here, but these guys, these airborne scouts, should have been moved up a lot sooner, maybe sitting in this building next to the Oxen Bucks, because that would have maybe given me a bit more information about how much this has been reinforced. So that's my bad. So if I go to my perspective, all I can see at the moment is the 81mm mortar, and I'm going to want to counter battery that, and you know, we were throwing salvos backwards and forwards, but still a +1 in our favour, still counting up the points. Spitfire does come in there from Silhouette to strafe the Pack 38, and we did just move into Phase B. However, Yagsource is going to be coming in with a second ME109, and that's going to force the Spitfire to fall back, which leaves it as easy pickings really for the ME109, but a second Spitfire now brought in, and that's going to go down. So Yagsource going to get that out of there. I'm spreading out towards the mid. My 6-pounder takes out some Sturm Pioneer in the half track there, which is good. And again, that opens up a front on that left side. As you can see, there is nothing contesting. And I really hope that I maybe could have pushed up the Tetrarch there to secure that, as we did need it to maintain the +1 at this point. Only 52% territory lead. Oxen Bucks have found some Fallschirmjägers. I'm going to be engaging the Fallschirmjägers with the Polston as well. I've got a Polston in the town as well. That's going to be providing sort of anti-air, a small amount of anti-air, just to get rid of those strafing ME109s. And those Fallschirmjägers, with them being pinned down, I'm going to charge them with the airborne Paras to try and get as close as I can. However, Salt's now bringing over the Wirbelwind, and I've got to be a little bit worried about that. And Salt also bringing in Whitman, which is not ideal. Yagsource at the moment, all of his forces are concentrated here, and I probably should have realised this sooner. And just trying to push up this left side, because at this point in the game, Bringing up an infantry squad all the way up this road and getting into this compound would have been devastating. Like, that would have been really hard to dislodge, especially with this orchard area and with this tree line as well. So either way, my ox and bucks here, I unload them due to Silhouette letting me know that they were there, and just gonna start running up to that tree line to see if we can make the ground there. Again, should have maybe rushed it up and tried to take the ground. Should have noticed that the salient was so far forwards. Getting my Willys Jeep over here with the recon in, and that's just brought up to give me some more information, as I do want to see what's ahead of me. And you can now see these airborne scouts moving forwards as well to this tree line to give me information on the right side. Grenadiers and Ox and Bucks trading a couple kills. Polston, however, helping pin those down there, but Verbelwind is doing the same on the other side. And things became pretty static now. Phase A is really where the 6th Airborne pushes hard, and I managed to take quite good advantage of that, especially with 380mm off map. However, in hindsight, maybe I should have used one strike here, pushed on it, one strike here, pushed on it, and then one strike on this left side where I cleaned out a lot of those support units. Now, an 88 was brought in by Gonzo down this road. I'm not entirely sure if this was intentional or not. However, just bumped straight into the Ox and Bucks. We managed to make the unit surrender there, and also the 88 goes down. Managing to take full advantage of that there. Very nice indeed. So Gonzo losing even more points for pretty much nothing. Now Silhouette's trying to make some ground back here, however these Panzer II looks on the left side proving to be a bit of a problem. Pack 38's almost dead due to the 50 cal and the M5 half track. But now we see a lot of infantry alongside Gonzo coming down towards these Ox and Bucks and the airborne scouts here, and that's not good, because this is very easily overrun since there is not a single command unit here, especially with the half tracks. Like, yes, I could use the Ox and Bucks like AT weapon, the Piat, to like take out the half track, but they can't be pinned down. But either way, half tracks coming in here. Got to get my airborne scouts to use their gammon bombs. Managed to get the engine destroyed, get the kill with the 6-pounder. However, the airborne scouts get pinned down by the Fallschirmjägers and surrender. So the 6-pounder kind of does its job. Ox and Bucks got out of there. But yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't have had the Ox and Bucks on the edge of the tree line in the first place, so that when the half track came down the road, I could have hit it with the Piat. But we're still, you know, at a +1. But as you can see, Jagdsource is set to return the favour with the off map. He's brought in his 380mm off map, and he's going to be putting it right on top of my mortar to get rid of that, which has apparently been annoying him for the majority of the game. I'm also bringing over my Jeep supply at this point to resupply it. Kind of bad timing for me there. Obviously I don't know this is coming in. It does a lot of damage. Takes out the Polston, takes out the mortar, does some damage to Silhouette's voltages, hits the airborne leader there and kills them off, and also kills off this infantry on the bottom right. Wonderful strike there from Jagdsource, hitting the mark very well, taking out a lot of those support units. Fortunately, this mortar was not close enough to get hit by that off map. Either way, Ox and Bucks now engaging the Sturm Pioneer from distance. Sturm Pioneers can't actually do too much from a long range because they only have the Kar 98s to engage at 300-meter range. On the left side, Gonzo still putting quite a lot of pressure on Silhouette. However, Silhouette starting to make a bit of ground back. On the right side, Snapper's still pretty much in the same position as he was, as Ciara and him butt heads. 2 17-pounders coming in to reinforce there, and Tanko's kind of broken through his 50-50 here with the 15th Infantry Scots. This sort of concentrated play works actually quite well for the Churchills if you can avoid being off-mapped. But Whitman is on his way and is going to be taking out one of the MG carriers down here. My infantry still engaging Speertrupp and Panzergrenz. And now my airborne para is being pinned down by sharpshooter as well. Marks and bucks here just on return fire so they don't reveal their position. So I want to keep the front line forwards as much as I can. On this side I've brought in a couple of, well, a Pathfinder squad and some air landing. Just to kind of help push back here. Ideally I should have had a tank or something with me, maybe a Tetrarch with the command, so that I could push on. Like this Tetrarch would have been perfect for that, because that would have made all of these units like +3 veterancy and +2 stars on the air landing, but just completely forgot about this Tetrarch for the rest of the game, even though it did kind of save the day when the Flampanzer came down the road. So yeah, using that to like secure this victory would have been fantastic, or secure that flank anyway. Mosquito Pathfinder comes in with the 4 bombs there, the napalm bombs. I land that across these tree lines just to try and get rid of the push from Jagdsource, these Fallschirmjägers, and the MG34 there. I had to fall back with my airborne paras, but the Ox and Bucks I believe got surrendered, and we see Whitman take out the 6-pounder there on the right side, so that wasn't ideal. These Ox and Bucks should also be in cover as well at this point, but as you can see I had them out in the field. So I've now brought up 2 M1 howitzers, and they're going to be going for the counter battery onto the 81mm mortars, just so that Jagdsource can't like push back against me. Air landing are kind of taking the ground here. We did kill off the Sturm Pioneers as well. Panzergrenadier also being hit by the 50 cal on the ground there. So it's just a matter of, you know, getting up to this tree line and securing it to maintain the +1. 6-pounder now engaging the L6 there. 2-star veterancy misses a second shot, which is not good. Normally 2-star veterancy means you're going to hit the second time round, but not this time. Hoping the 6-pounder can hit the third shot, but nope, misses. And the ME-109s come down to play. Since my Tripolston in the town is dead, and the one on the right I think got killed as well, I'm in a pretty bad position in terms of my AA. However, Gonzo's still providing a lot of presence on this left side, still bringing in some more Panzer 2s and the Panzer 1s there. He's got a Panzer 4H as well. That could definitely kill off the 57mm AT gun, especially if it misses, and that's exactly what's going to happen there. It's about losing that. My airborne Pak 75 now coming up. That's just to quite simply help with the amount of tanks that are coming through on that left side. And my Tetrarchs finally moving forwards to assist my air landing. And the Ox and Bucks there. We've got the airborne paras being taken out on the right side. The M1 howitzers are firing away, trying to get the shots onto the LG42 there and the MG42, as they can do a lot of damage to infantry if you let them. That's going to force Jagdsource to fall that one back, and there is a little bit of a push coming through here as Jagdsource moves forward some sharpshooter, but the mortar that's still alive is going to help me out there. So we've moved into phase C now, 20 minutes left on the clock. And we're still running the +1, 53% territory lead. On the left side, things aren't going particularly well. Gonzo's managed to get quite aggressive with his tanks and is slowly breaking these infantry here. I even brought up an Ox and Bucks to help out on that left side. My airborne pack's still moving around this tree line as well, as you can see. But now we have off-map coming in over here. 380mm off-map brought over to this side. Going to be smashing into my tanks. Ideally, I should have done this tank push a lot sooner, because if I had, then it would have broken through. But instead, off-map comes down, forces my Cromwell to fall back, and I'm just going to have to rethink how I want to do this. Air landing currently moving over to the left side, Ox and Bucks moving up as well. Pathfinders may as well stay where they are. Although I could have maybe had the Pathfinders move into the edge tree line here, just so that I could spot the enemy units ahead of me. That would have been ideal, actually, having this recon squad actually provide recon information in this scenario. Yeah, I just had them mispositioned completely. We can see now the HS-129 coming in. HS-129 more than enough to kill off a Cromwell. Going to get the tracks broken onto that one. Doesn't manage to kill the second one, however. Still another big blow, because without that Cromwell, it's going to be hard for me to take out the LG-42s and the AT guns in a timely fashion. We see Salt coming over to help Jagdsource push onwards, brought over Whitman and a Panzer II. And now the attack coming from Jagdsource, especially with these Volscian Pioneers. A lot of my infantry is sort of being forced back here. I am reinforcing slightly, but wasn't expecting a dual attack on this right side, as I was kind of already dealing with Gonzo and Jagdsource on the left side. Ox and Buck's currently on return fire, just so that if any tanks roll past, then I can get the Piat in there. And what happened here was my Pack 75 actually ended up getting killed off because Silhouette's units died. So my Pack 75 just got ran down and surrendered, I think. And it didn't manage to kill off the Panzer IV after all that. So ideally I would have never had it in there in the first place. But anyway, Focke-Wulf 190, G1 comes in. That's going to be bombing the command infantry there. I'm not entirely sure how he had the information as to where my units were, but either way, Jagdsource hitting those hard. Likely saw them with the speed troop actually coming in. It's just odd how that hit directly onto my command infantry. We go to Jagdsource's position. I don't know. But my off-map comes down here. It's hard, that's for sure. Smashing that down to pieces. Both of the mortars gone there. But his Fallschirmjäger's already moved out, fortunately for him. Otherwise that would have been a lot more deadly. Second strike going to be coming in towards these Fallschirmführer and Fallschirmjäger. I would have put it further back, but I didn't want to reveal it, just in case like an AT gun shot it. So I was just playing safe with it. I thought I could maybe clip these units to the back if I did it correctly, and that would definitely help us out. But yeah, here, you know, the recons can't really see too much, unfortunately. I would have ideally known that there's loads of infantry here, because then I could have easily off-mapped that. But instead, off-map coming in onto the right side. I do manage to get one of the shots to land on the backside there onto the LG-40 and the pack. So that again sort of breaks that left side, and these off-map strikes definitely did a lot of work. I'm also off-mapping here because I saw a lot of infantry here like before. Currently two like 380mm off-maps in play on my side, but we've also got Jagdsources on the other side. But yeah, I kind of gave up on this push, which is why I didn't off-map it, I think. I'm trying to push up on this left side, but they do of course still have the HS-129 in play. And currently Gonzo is breaking through Silhouette on the left flank, which isn't helping us out at all. A +1 goes into favour of the enemy team. So yeah, I think Silhouette just kind of ran out of steam. His second armoured just couldn't hold up to the amount of Panzer IVs and Panzer II looks that were thrown at him throughout the game. Maybe like more M4A3s earlier on would have been helpful. But at this point we're in a pretty dire situation, because we're going to have to make back all the ground that Gonzo is now going to take. And that's going to be very hard. Like, Gonzo isn't going to make that easy. Either way, on this left side, Cromwell is going to be engaging the 251-9. Gets the transmission damage in there. Pathfinders get forced back by the Panzergrens. However, the Cromwell is going to be able to pin those down nice and easy. Ox and Bucks ready and waiting to get the Piat onto this half track. And I'm also going for the off-map onto this location, as I'm assuming that's where they are going to reinforce. Going to get the Tetrarch to try and move over and take out that MG for me, since the MG can't do anything against the MG42. Now on the right side, Whitman is still sort of supporting Jagdsource here. And I believe Jagdsource was sort of just waiting for this off-map to arrive in order to make another push. And you can see that with my reinforced airborne paras coming in, the off-map is going to land very nicely on a bunch of my infantry. These guys should have been a lot more spread out, really. I shouldn't even have them in this position, ideally, because if he's going to attack me, it's going to come from up here. So moving them into the orchard here probably would have been better, although it might not have helped against the off-map anyway. So my Mosquito Pathfinder and Tempest come in to try and fend off the Focke-Wulf 190G1s, but Jagdsource is going to bring up his own ME109s. So I'm just going to get my own planes out of there. Moving up some infantry to the left side. And it looks like the M4A1 there of Silhouette is going to go down to Gonzo's Panzer IVs. My Cromwell now also engaging, although it doesn't really stand a chance. 11 AP can penetrate 8 armor, but 14 AP can definitely penetrate 7 armor, and that's exactly what's going to happen there. So my Cromwell goes down as well. Tripolston almost takes out the Pack 40 there, and landing, doing a decent job. More reinforcements coming in here, so I decide to go for the off map based on what I can see. Air landing, however, going to get pinned down. On the right side, Wirbelwind smashing my air landing. And this is the bad part. Like, you can see how devastating the off-map was. It finished off a lot of units and damaged them a lot. And a lot of my elite infantry needs the smoke in order to work. So in this case, what I probably should have done, especially with the approach of the Fallschirm Pioneers and Fallschirm Jaegers, is move the mortar back, smoked forwards, and moved forwards the airborne paras. However, I didn't want to lose the airborne paras to another off-map. Now my off-map comes in, manages to take out one of the Fallschirm Jaegers there. We also saw the HS-129 take out my Cromwell on this flank. So things aren't looking good whatsoever. And on the left side, well, Silhouette's not recovering very well, and even Tankol 6-pounder can't really hold up against the Panzer IVs right now. There is a Churchill 7 on the way, and this should do a lot better against the Panzer IVs. However, it just needs to be used correctly. Silhouette's M10's also a decent choice as well. However, you don't want to be engaging the Panzer IVs in 1,000 meter range, because they do have some serious veterancy. 6-pounder, however, going to be landing the shot, and that's good. And my airborne paras on this left side are helping out with the engagement of the Pioneers there. However, I'm of course concentrating on this side, where now Gonzo is helping Jagdsource push back against my dead Cromwell and these infantry squads here. So we're set to lose even more ground, and currently a +1 continuing for our opponents, which is really bad, because if this continues, it's going to be a draw, especially after all of the work that we did towards the start of the game. So I was kind of dropped the ball a bit here, lacked a bit of concentration during the stream, and it really allowed like Jagdsource to push back. Like even with these like squads of Fallschirm Jaeger and Fallschirm Pioneers that didn't even have like command near them. Like this is where these M1 howitzers should be firing at like the Fallschirm Jaegers and the Fallschirm Pioneers and like pinning them down so that my airborne paras can just move forwards and make them surrender. That's what should be happening right now. Unfortunately, my 17-pounder does miss Whitman. Second shot also misses, and Whitman gets the kill there. That wasn't ideal. I'm bringing a Typhoon whilst Jagdsource still has his ME109s up, and that was a big mistake as well. And you can see just things not going very well at all. Bringing up some reinforcing infantry here, just going to try and hold this compound against these Pioneers that are coming up and destroying Silhouette's units. Silhouette's actually using some of these volunteers. I think it's the first time I've ever actually like seen them used in the game, but currently they're firing their Kar 98s, which are absolutely terrible against the MG34. So the volunteers not winning out at the moment. So I've got more sort of engineers coming into the town as well. One of them does get shot by the Pack 40 there. But as you can see, Fallschirm Pioneers going to be getting the grenades in there. Kind of trade out a couple kills. Now we have the M1 howitzers actually firing away and starting to pin down these units. However, Befehl Stug coming in to help out. Maybe I can get the Airborne Attrition bomb on target, but I just really wanted to, you know, even this out, even to a 50-50, so that we could win the game. At this point, not happening. Now this engineer squad does actually kill off 2 units of my infantry. I believe he got the pin and then just made them surrender. Maybe killed one of the assault pioneers and then the other one just surrendered. But now we see Tanko having to back up with his Churchill 7 as Gonzo's Tiger E is on the field. Now Gonzo has completely overextended here, as you can see. There isn't actually much armor left on the field. If this Tiger E was dead, a lot of his infantry would be in a very bad spot, but it doesn't matter. As long as he holds the ground, it's absolutely fine. And I am, of course, still losing ground to Salt and Jagdsource on this side. You know, 3 players' forces now pushing against what's left of the 6th Airborne. And honestly, like late game 6th Airborne, I was running out of like everything I had. And that's something that I particularly don't like about the 6th Airborne. They can really just run out of units, because they probably have the least sort of amount to spend on in the entire game. Like, say if you gave every division 10k, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't afford like all of the 6th Airborne units. Like, or it would afford all of the 6th Airborne units, but it wouldn't afford all of, like, say, the Panzer or something like that, because they have King Tigers that cost like way more, for example. Either way, Pathfinder's managing to ambush one of the Panzer IVs here as Gonzo tries to get aggressive again. M1 howitzer takes out the Pak 40 further back, and I mean, time's running out. 6 minutes left, and +1 still in favour of the Axis, which is going to still lead to a draw at this point. Now I need to pin down and make these pioneers surrender, which is exactly what's happening. Air landing doing the job there. My airborne paras on this left side eventually got taken out. Silhouette Spy moving through. Going to try and kill off these mortars, I believe. We got the Typhoon coming in to bomb out some of the infantry that's left on this side, which is going to be that command infantry there. And I do bring up a 17-pounder to try and take out any tanks that came towards me. However, the Geb's currently firing at the M1 howitzer and unwittingly pinning down the 17-pounder as well. Cromwell is also damaged at this point. Gonna have to back that one off. These Pathfinders getting ripped to shreds by the 2-star Panzer IV and the half-track there. Ocean Pioneers also moving up, going to be smoking it all off. These Pioneers should have used their smoke sooner, however, this time round, going to be a bit slow off the mark. Another unit of mine going down on the right side, the air landing there, and these airborne paras, they're going to be trying to engage the Vulcan Pioneers, but they can't get within the 100-meter range really, because otherwise a 20 HE power grenade lands in their face and they die. And as you can see, you know, my line's getting very thin here. Once these airborne paras go down, that's going to open up a huge salient in the middle of the map. Spitfire going to get shot down as well there by Jagdsource. So considering my off-map strikes were so damn strong at the start of the game, it was a shame I couldn't really capitalize more. Like, if I'd landed one really good off-map strike on this area, then I think that would have really like sealed the deal for this game, because it would have been a lot harder to push back. But I didn't make enough ground in Phase A to really make it matter as the 6th Airborne. And unfortunately, of course, Silhouette's second armor inevitably going to run out of steam. Snapper, however, still holding on this right side. Harris here. Gonna be rolling forwards, trying to make some engagements. However, it does have its transmission damage. But just well played by Snapper on the right side. First ever multiplayer game, and he held his line very nicely. Tanko also doing very well with the 15th Infantry Scots, so props to them. So the Cromwell's going to win this engagement against the Panzer IV, and I was hoping it would do so, but misses the mark, of course. Do manage to just about reverse out of line of sight to make that engagement in my favour. Going to go for the next shot onto the Panzer IV. However, Whitman comes in with the really crazy line of sight through all the buildings and kills my Cromwell, which was not ideal. So now I'm just trying to move up with the Pathfinders, kill off any units as Gonzo like fast moves down the roads, which is exactly what I expect him to do. I know how he plays. Very aggressive, just sort of fast moves forwards, tries to make as much ground as he can. Kind of neglects the fact that he's going to take losses. My Pathfinder here does actually manage to take out the Panzer IV before it dies. It revealed itself throwing the Gammon Bomb, and the Flampanzer burned them alive, which was probably a very bad way to go, but sacrifice themselves to kill the Panzer IV. Now we've got the Pathfinders waiting to get shots onto the 251 and the Flampanzer there. Cromwell also able to help out. Don't want to have these Pathfinders pinned down, however, but that's exactly what's going to happen, and they're going to get the surrender in there. Now what I can do with this Cromwell is, of course, force the 251 to fall back. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And then hopefully get the surrender there. Second Cromwell does force it to fall back, and that's going to be job done. But then we have the HS-129 come in once again. Is going to take out that Cromwell. Uses up all of his ammunition. Second one's still alive, which is fortunate, and I now have a command tech truck coming to bring up the rear. The only issue now is that I have basically only Cromwell 6s left to take on Panzer IVJs, and it's currently a +2 for the Axis as well. Still going to be a draw at the end of the day. Klosterman losing his life there to the ME-109s. And that's pretty much it. I was literally like on the dregs of my division. There was nothing left. The entire 6th Airborne almost wiped out. And here's just like a poor last stand. My Cromwell literally can't do anything against the Panzer IV. They've got to rely on these Pathfinders to save them. I drop the smoke so that the Cromwell can hide. And then I'm going to try and use these Pathfinders to get into range of the Panzer IVJ, which is exactly what's going to happen. Pathfinders missed the first Gammon Bomb. I would have expected Gonzo to like run away with his tank then, but in comes the second one, and job done. Nice. Just a little bit of a satisfying kill at the end there. Nice little play from the Pathfinders protecting the Cromwell 6. And that's, yeah, job done. Any extra units that come down this road will also be killed. Still a +2 for our enemy, but at the end of the day, 50 seconds left. Even a +3 wouldn't give them the win at this point, I don't think. So just holding the line, I guess. Sending the last few units back at them. Tetrarch going to be trying to pick up some half-track kills, maybe the kill onto the Befehl Panzer II. Typhoon coming in with its bombs to try and take out the Panzergrenz, and is going to do so. That takes them back to a +1. Their victory isn't so complete. And yeah, Panzer II. So in the end, they are going to have more points than us, but because it's not more than 10%, it's not classed as a victory. But either way, a fantastic game that really just showed the power of certain divisions in different phases. You can see like the 2nd Armoured and the 6th Airborne, very much Phase A, Phase B divisions. Unfortunately, Silhouette wasn't able to get going because he butted heads with the 9th Panzer and Gonzo, which really gave him a hard time. I managed to make some ground, but apparently it wasn't enough, and that's going to end up in the draw after 40 minutes. And if we jump over to the team perspective, also a pretty painful kill death, 2,812 kills to 3,620 losses. On the opposing side of things, Jagdsource actually ended up very positive, mainly due to a lot of his air kills, used the ME-109 G6R6s very well, and the HS-129s, of course, which picked up most of the tank kills and so on. So, yeah, that's basically how it ended up. At the end of the day, the Germans came back in Phase C enough to give it the draw. We go over to my kills. The naval battery did pretty damn well, this one especially. I kind of just wish that I'd used this first one a little bit more effectively. Like, I shouldn't have really put two like strikes in the same place, because you can assume by the amount of kills that your off map gets how much stuff was actually there. And the first time round when I didn't get any significant kills, I probably should have noticed or realized that there wasn't as much infantry as I thought, because I had like an overwhelming amount of infantry compared to his 2 Fallschirmjägers and Speedtroop. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was necessary to force the Panzer L6 to fall back, because that L6 could definitely hold the orchard very well. I don't know. It's all up in the air really. But still, very fun game in the end, and I enjoyed it a lot. Whitman, however, caused me a lot of pain. Took out 6 pounder, 17 pounder there. Took out one of my command Cromwells. That's Salt, bringing that over. And 380mm off mat from Jagdsource did a decent amount of damage as well. 9th Panzer Gonzo taking out a lot of my air landing. One of my Cromwell 5s. Was taking shots from 3 players throughout this game, which is not ideal. But either way, fantastic job on both sides for a really, really fun game. And thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.